Hi everyone, this is Gail at Ladyfingers Sewing. Today I'm going to share with you how to cut out block number 30 from the Made and Found Quilt Along series. Each week for 36 weeks we release a new pattern. All of the patterns are patchwork patterns. All of the patterns finish as a 9-inch finished block. And the patterns are all available all the time, up until the point where we release the new one. So all the previous 29 patterns are available on the Made and Found Facebook page, as well as the Ladyfingers AccuQuilt Go Club Facebook page, and on Ladyfingers website, which is ladyfingerssewing.com. So all of the patterns are written for rotary cutting and sewing, but since many of us like to use the AccuQuilt cutting system to cut our blocks whenever possible, I felt that this was a great project for us to explore how to learn to know what dies to use when cutting out a patchwork block. So this is a 9-inch block just like all the others, and like all the other blocks, it's really easy to kind of know which cube, AccuQuilt cube, you want to use to find the right size dies you need to cut out the given block. So as a 9-inch finished block, this can be divided into 4 equally, and so we know then that most likely the dies will be found in the 9-inch cube. So we're going to start off, this uses 3 different dies, and we're going to start off with the shape here, which is the square, color designation number 3. And that die comes from the 9-inch cube, and it is die number 2, which is a 2 1/4 inch finished square. We're going to need 4 of them because it is the 4 corners of the block. I've chosen my fabric. I'm using a dark blue Dimples, and I have 4 layers because we need 4 squares. Okay, and as always, remember to rub your mat a little bit. That lessens the static, if that's an issue for you. And remember to slide your mat off of the die. Don't lift it, and that'll also help with static. So we have our 4 squares all ready to go, and that's the only time that we need a square for this particular block. The next shape will be die number 5 from the 9-inch cube, and it's a 2 1/4 inch finished half square triangle. So there are 2 triangles on the die board, and so we're going to need 8 of the triangles in color number 1, which is my medium blue, and then we'll also need 4 of the color designation number 2, which for me is a very light blue, which is kind of sort of my background color. And notice too, we'll talk about green line again, I do happen to have a selvage edge here, and so my straight grain, my lengthwise grain is running this way. I line up that grain line with the die shape, okay? Not the die board, but over here, because the shapes are tilted a little bit, and that's to add life to the blades on the die when they're running through the machine. The other thing to remember is to try to remember to offset your mat a little bit. You don't have to set it exactly on your die board this way each time. If you do that and you use the same shape all the time, you're going to run a big groove in your mat, and your mats won't last as long. So if you offset them a little bit, just make sure that you cover the blades. That'll add life to your mat. So this is great. We can cut out 2 colors at a time. Because we haven't hit the 6 layers, as long as we are under 6 layers or under, we can do that. So we have our 4 light color designation number 2, the smaller triangles, which create the center pinwheel, as well as color designation number 1, which is all of the triangles, so 2, 4, 6, 8 of them, which is pretty great. That happened pretty quickly. Finally, we're going to use a chisel, and this is actually found in the 9-inch cube companion corners. So this is shape number 9 from the 9-inch corners companion cube. Okay, so this is for color designation number 2, which is my light background color. I need 4 of them, so I have 4 layers, and we're ready to cut. Now, one thing we have to do, though, that I just thought of right now, is that you have to watch your direction, the direction of your shape when it comes to a chisel die. So since we want the chisel to land opposite of the way it's cutting, then all the fabrics need to be face down. So we're going to cut these. I'm just going to quickly cut them. And this is great that we noticed it now and not after we cut our fabric. So remember that when it's an even shape like a square or a half square triangle, it usually will not matter whether your fabric is face up or down. But in this instance, because the shape has a certain direction and you want your direction to come out the same way your block was designed, then you need to make sure that your fabric is facing either up or down depending on, how you want the fabric to land. So in this case, we want it right side down on the die. Okay. There we go. So now, all of our shapes are headed in the correct direction. Okay, so let's lay out the block. The first thing is going to be the center pinwheel. And what you're going to do is make your half square triangle units. You're going to sew these 2 layers together. And these 2 layers together, or 2 triangles I should say. Okay. And these 2. And finally, this guy. Once you've sewn your half square triangle units together, you're going to sew all 4 of these together as a pinwheel. And then we're going to take our chisel die, chisel shape, and sew a half square triangle to the end of it. Do that 4 times. So this really goes together rather quickly. Just make sure you watch your fabric orientation when you cut on those chisels. Everything else, it doesn't really matter. But on the chisel, it does. Chisel shape is nice. It saves you a lot of time. Okay, if you don't have a chisel die, you can use your square and your triangle shape and cut out another 4 more squares of your background color and 4 more of the background color in this triangle shape. Sew those together, and you can manage without the chisel die, but the chisel die does make it a lot easier. Okay, and then finally our 4 corner squares, and that's the block. Alright, so I hope you've enjoyed learning how to cut this out using the AccuQuilt cutting system. Be sure to follow us at Ladyfinger's AccuQuilt Go Club Facebook page, and do subscribe to the YouTube channel that is Ladyfingers Sewing, where you'll find all of the videos for all of the made and found blocks that we've done, and lots of other information as well. Okay, thank you for watching and have a great day.